Good morning. What is that behind you? Oh, you know what? I bet I can read it if I turn this camera around. Hang on.
Let's see. There you go. That's
Uh,
our tagline.
I still can't see it. Getting old.
This
Yes.
built to build you up.
See, I saw the built too, and then I didn't want to get it wrong.
Oh
So
yeah, it's kind of hiding there in the
that's a
shadow.
that's a good tagline.
Yeah, we did a kind of rebranded last year, and out of all the research and insights and thought process that went into it, came out with built to build you up.
How deep was it on the whiteboard? How many things got crossed out?
Uh, it took us close to 9 months to go through this entire process. It was a lot more than a tagline. It was an entire rebranding of our whole company. But a lot of times, the most concise or simple things are the hardest to get to. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff got crossed out.
Well, I don't know. We were in this era for a long time of really long purpose statements that were word salad, and I like a short one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's short and it lasts. There's no finish line to it. I mean, the whole premise behind Built to Build You Up is we're a technology company that partners with fitness businesses, and we're built to help them build amazing businesses. We're also built for the clients of their gyms and to build them up and help them achieve their goals. We're built for the coaches, and we're built for the entire industry to just evolve and keep building up together. So that's kind of the background for it. And yeah, we liked it because it's simple. You can apply it to any area of our business, our customer base, and 20 years from now, hopefully we'll have the same tagline.
I like it. I like a good context statement. I like that it says what it is, right? Like it's not two sentences, three sentences of changing the world through whatever people want to change the world through. So I like it.
What's yours for Hybrid Fitness Media? Put you on the
Let's
spot.
let's fucking wing it every day.
Okay, there you go.
Consistent quality content. That's it.
Like it. I like it.
Yeah. Um, it's funny because I am kind of the opposite. I'm a like let's just go. I don't write a lot of like business plans. Like I came out of like I didn't graduate college. I didn't start with a big check, and so somewhere a few years ago, it's like, well, what do you really want to deliver to people? And it's like consistent quality content. And then like if you asked me to describe the brand a little bit further, I would say informative, fun, slightly irreverent.
You just keep listing through
well,
three words,
well, you know
three
what I mean?
words
It's
at a
like
time.
I don't
Yeah.
want to say flat out irreverent, you know what I mean? But slightly irreverent, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think the other benefit of doing it later, like we had been around for a while when we went through this exercise, and we did it in our culture and our core values too, in our positioning statement. It's helpful to just look back at what you've done and be like, well, what are the best things we've done and who we want to be as a company? And then just name that and label that and move forward versus like when you're starting, it can be hard. It can be super high level and like philosophical. And you're like, we haven't actually done any of this. So like, what are we say? What does it matter what we say? We got to go actually create value and do stuff. So you probably created consistent quality content for many years before you put a label on it.
Exactly, because I just woke up every day and thought, like, what do I want to do next? And when I started, if you want to learn about me, Brendan,
Yeah.
when I started, it was I was a guy with a podcast and a blog. There was no such thing as a content creator, and so that's what people knew me as. Like, oh, you have a podcast. This is 2012 before everybody had a
Yeah.
podcast, um, and then I didn't I didn't know I wanted to be a media company. Like, I mean, it's just sort of like, I
Yeah.
think sometimes you fall into it's funny. My daughter actually said to me last night, we were watching something and she said, what job did you want to have when you were young and little? I said, a sportscaster. She said, well, it's kind of what you do. I'm like, took me a while to get there, but yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. That's great. That's a cool story of following passion. And did you start as a hybrid athlete enthusiast, or did you start like?
I started, um, I did a Spartan race when I was 40 years old and then did another like smaller one and really just fell in love with running. This was kind of the Born to Run ish time.
Yeah.
Fell in love with running and just kind of threw myself into it. Like I didn't know what shoes to wear or what anything was. Um, and just kind of learned as I went. Like I'm self-taught on podcasting and video and social and all that stuff. And then 2019, 2020, HYROX and DECA start rolling around, and I was covering it through that channel, that obstacle channel. It was a lot of
Yep.
obstacle racers that were kind of the first to find it. So like Hunter McIntyre, was one of the first to do it over here, and he was kind of spreading the word. And then a mere 3 years ago, May of 2023, I was like, I think I should launch the whole brand because this is clearly something I think it's going to blow up.
Yeah.
And I'm not a genius. It's just like I'm riding the wave like the rest of everybody else is. I also think I'm really good at what I do. But this new thing, which I'd love to kind of dive in with you because you've been with Wodify for a long time. Like you're pre whatever current boom we're in, right?
Yep. I've been with Wodify. I joined Wodify in 2018. So Wodify started a few years before, but I've been with Wodify a little over 8 years.
So was it mostly CrossFit gyms in 2018?
In 2018, it was mostly CrossFit gyms. To start, we were pretty much only CrossFit gyms. We've kind of evolved a lot since then. But yeah, we started as a company that built digital performance tracking for CrossFit gyms. So it's very specific. It was taking what they used to do, which is write whiteboard workouts every day, tell people to record their results in a notebook, maybe type it into their WordPress website back in 2012, 2013. And the founder got obsessed with CrossFit, had a tech background. It was like, let's just digitize this experience. And that's still a huge part of our product. We have almost 500 million now performances that have been tracked through our system. So we have a incredible amount of data on performance records, but we've built out our entire management suite. So you can do all your scheduling and payment process. You can run your whole business with Wodify.
Um, I've seen a lot of gyms in the last now that I've kind of gotten into this part of it, and gym owners are passionate and excited and good community builders, and like a lot of businesses aren't necessarily great business folks. They don't know what to invest in. They they kind of become so I think the example I would use is like a good like mechanic, right? Like mechanic, it's all word of mouth. They've got zero systems probably, and it's like they think like, well, this is as successful as I'm going to be because all my guys are busy. And it's like actually, if you had someone dive in to like maybe you could open a second place, or maybe you wouldn't have to work
Mm-hmm.
120 hours a week. And so anyway, I guess when gym owners come to you, um, I guess what are their biggest questions, or like what percentage are at the we've tried everything and kind of don't know how to keep customers, or just like our books are a mess? Like how do they kind of find you usually?
Yeah, so there's two categories. The first is they're just opening a gym. If you're opening a gym, you have to choose a technology partner to help you run your entire business. Back in 2015, sometimes people are still doing like pen and paper and accepting cash payments, and that was just the Wild West. We're kind of past that now. So if you're opening a gym, you're going to choose a company like Wodify to run your operations because at a base level, you need scheduling and an app for reservations. Maybe you're doing performance tracking. And then there's existing businesses that come to us. And if I were to kind of pinpoint one thing, it's usually that gym owners will work harder than any category of entrepreneur I've ever met because they're so passionate about the craft and the impact they're having on people's lives. So I started an e-commerce company. I've been an entrepreneur. I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs. I worked before Wodify at a technology accelerator where we invested in tech companies and supported other entrepreneurs. And what's unique about the fitness industry is I have yet to meet a single gym owner in our space of mostly independently owned, one location, maybe two, three, four location gyms. They are not starting it to grow really fast and sell and make 10x their money or their investment. That's just not why they're doing it. And so they're willing to work incredibly hard because they're working for a higher purpose and reason, which is they're passionate about the craft, the community, and an understanding that they will change people's lives if they can do this. They come to us because like you said, in order to do that, one of the phrases we use a lot is like there's no passion without profit. You have to generate profit and you can't just outwork everything. And so you have to generate profit and you have to use technology in your business to give you the time to be able to actually do what you want to do and grow your business. So you can't just work more. There are only so many hours in the day. So they come to us because we save them time. We help provide tools that increase their retention, grow their business over time, and just kind of um, create more efficient businesses.
How many active competitors are there? Like, big
Um,
ones. Like, I'm sure there's a million
yeah,
one-off shitty ones, but,
big
like,
ones. I mean, there's probably like 10 to 15 we come up against regularly. Um, if you look on like G2 is kind of the Yelp for software. It's an online rating system. If you look at gym management in G2, there's 225. Um, Realistically, there's probably like 10 that we compete with.
um, the ones that come up in in search are, uh, Glean Tap, Gym Desk, and Exercise.com. Do we like any of those?
I like all of our competition. We all make each other better.
Oh,
But
be quiet. Get
if
out of
I
here with that
was
nonsense.
if I was advising a gym owner to choose, I mean, one of the reasons a lot of gyms choose Wodify too, and I'm would love to talk about where the industry's headed and stuff. This doesn't need to be too much about Wodify, but we are the only all-in-one platform. So we do the
You
performance
are
tracking.
4.7 out of 5. You are number 1 if that's a thing, if that's, like, how they
We
limit
are
it.
we are we are 1 out of 225 on G2.
Mind, Body, Wellness Living, Legit Fit, Push Press, they've been feeding me a lot of ads lately, probably because I started working with you guys, and I'm starting to put out stuff around Wodify, so they're reading my algorithm and like, "We gotta get at this guy." Um, but as not a gym owner, I haven't heard of a lot of these. How
Yeah, I
many
mean,
folks
Mind Body's the big dog. Like they've been around for a long time. They were a publicly traded company for a while. I think what we're trying to do better than our competition as well is evolve with the industry. So, we started in the CrossFit space. CrossFit customers are still a really important part of our base and our community, but HYROX we're now well into, Jiu-Jitsu we're well into. So we're trying to take that long. We've never taken any outside investment either. That's what sets us apart from every company on that list. We're bootstrapped.
Me
We
either.
have long-term vision. Yeah, there we go. We're in the same boat.
Yeah. Um, that's just the only way I've known how to do it, that's all. I mean, I suppose I could try to pitch somebody for a bunch of money, but, this is the way I know how to do it is just, kinda wing it. So, wait, where are you geographically?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Okay, that's a hub. It's a hub of fitness.
It is. There's a lot of interesting just you got the mountains. Everyone's running up and down the mountains, doing different races. HYROX is having their first. I'm surprised they hadn't had one earlier, but this is their first year they're doing Denver in November. So
I was gonna ask if you're looking to do some kinda, like, takeover.
yeah, I think I want to do something with them. I'm going out to the New York race, and then in Denver, it'll be cool to do. In New York, we're doing a kind of like a private dinner for affiliate owners, and so I
Okay.
think in Denver it'd be cool if we did an activation with affiliate owners, maybe took them on a tour of some local Denver gyms, something like that.
Um, I will also be in New York.
Oh, nice. Yeah, hopefully see you there.
Um, yeah, so this the ecosystem, a sign of a healthy ecosystem for HYROX and you talk about where the industry is going is, um, the hey, we're gonna do a shakeout run, and there used to be maybe one of those, maybe 2, and now there's, like, 20, and it's like people are sending, like, Adidas like it does, like, a whole house, you know what I mean, like they do for the games and for Wodapalooza and stuff
Hmm.
like that, and so I love all that. It means we're growing, it means there's a lot happening, so it's kinda odd, though, because if the race was Saturday, Sunday, the Friday afternoon shakeout made sense. Now the races are Thursday through Sunday. I mean, we know New York is a whole other
Yeah,
thing of 2 weeks
yeah.
straight, but if it's a Thursday through Sunday, when do you do the shakeout? Because people who are showing up for the shakeout might have to race the next day. And so, but people are getting more creative and doing them at cold plunge places or making it like a whole activation. But obviously, if you guys are in Denver, you should do something huge and cool. But yeah, I'm gonna go to that one because I think that's gonna be crazy. Where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I grew up in Colorado as well, so I grew up in Boulder,
Oh, okay.
just outside of Denver.
Did you play sports?
Played the usual soccer, a little bit of hockey growing up. started running a bit in high school, and then honestly wasn't super into fitness. Kind of was a regular gym goer for a few years. Think I'm more into it for sure around the time I started working for Wodify. And I think one of the things that's kept me passionate about Wodify in the fitness industry is I'm kind of a like beginner to intermediate at a lot of different disciplines. So I've done, Spartan races, Ragnars, marathons, ultra races, CrossFit comps, HYROX competitions, and I like just being like humbled by all of them. I'm like not great at any one, but I could go do any one of those things this weekend if I wanted to. And it's really cool to be in a position for work, and you're probably the same way, where I get to actually experience all of those different communities, and you see the like similar threads across them, but in completely different environments and different demographics. And so that's been really cool.
Well, this is one of the issues I have with some CrossFit folks, but I mean, I guess there's kind of gatekeeping everywhere. Like I remember Spartan launched their trail running races. I think it was 5 years ago, maybe it was pre-pandemic. And a lot of these trail racers were like, "We invented running on the dirt. Like, how dare Spartan, because they are a
Yeah.
brand and have money, like run a trail race?" Um, but but CrossFit specifically seems to be the one that says, like, we invented community, and if you are not doing it the way we are, you're doing it wrong. Whereas all those other things I've ever done that you just mentioned, an ultra, a Ragnar, anything, and like someone tries something else, I'm gonna go try powerlifting. Awesome, right? Or a Spartan racer goes, I'm doing my first ultra this weekend. I'm doing a 50K. Awesome. Not don't do that. It's bad and wrong.
Yeah.
And I know it's not every gym, and I know it's a percentage, and certainly there's a lot of like loud negative media percentage on it. But I am curious, like there are less affiliates than they were a few years ago, CrossFit wise. And I wonder what you're seeing because, the smart thing that, HYROX and DECA are doing is like, well, no, 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 you're not our affiliate, you are an affiliate and you do whatever the hell you want. So if you say we program hybrid classes, no matter who you are, Orange Theory, a CrossFit gym, whoever, you're going to attract the people that are currently Googling that phrase. Um, so I guess, are you seeing a bunch of CrossFit gyms close? Are you seeing them just maybe like taking the word CrossFit out and, rebranding to functional fitness? Or I definitely want to talk to you about those. Like, what are you seeing larger
Yeah.
macro?
Yeah. And I think, I've talked to a lot of public and private conversations with CrossFit gym owners and people in that industry in a position of being, I think, an advocate and partner with HYROX and explaining why. Like it's good to understand people's incentives too at the end of the day. So my incentive as the leader of Wodify is to help more gyms stay in business, be successful and grow, and just grow the fitness ecosystem. Like that's how we make money.
You kind of like you're building to build people
We
up.
there you go. We grew in CrossFit because there were gyms opening all over the place. And so like we have a great relationship with CrossFit HQ, and they just got a new CEO, and like we'll share our data with them because we have the best industry. We have better data than CrossFit or HYROX or any of those companies on what's happening in gyms, right? Like we have system of record data. So I can tell you HYROX affiliates have these many people showing up at classes. They help gyms grow this percentage. So anyways, first, like that's where I'm coming from. That's my incentive. And in some cases, I have to try to almost help CrossFit affiliate owners understand why doing something with HYROX or affiliating with HYROX isn't like a betrayal of their values. I also feel like maybe in this instance for your audience, I could try to do the opposite, which is like CrossFit is not is very different than HYROX or Spartan races. Like they're not in a sport or an event at its core. At its core, it's a methodology that started in 2012 and helped popularize functional strength training and varied movements. And sport is a piece of it. Like the CrossFit Open, just like HYROX, CrossFit Open is a huge mass participation event. Like they did an awesome job of creating at the time the biggest mass participation fitness competition. And so I think some of the friction across the communities comes from this place of CrossFit was built by independent gym owners, affiliate owners. It was the first in so many ways to do certain things that that some people that I think are looking at it through the wrong lens are seeing it as like seeing HYROX as like stealing pieces from CrossFit or maybe not being a perfect test of fitness. And it's kind of like that's not the point. That's not the point at all. You guys are doing different things, and I think there's a ton of mutual opportunities to work together. And honestly, most CrossFit gym owners I talk to, the vast majority have a positive way of looking at this, where they're like, we train people to be able to do whatever they want to do in life, whether that's losing weight, a Spartan race, or a HYROX race. And if their gym can be a place that trains them to do those things, then they should. And right now, a lot of people want to do HYROX races, just a fact. And so leaning into HYROX affiliation, training your athletes to be able to do HYROX races is a great business strategy and isn't a betrayal of your values to help people be fitter and to do what they want to do in life with fitness.
I agree 100%.
And I think a lot of the fun kind of viral stuff comes from that idea of like, what's a what's a perfect test of fitness. But again, like CrossFit made this claim that these people who win the CrossFit Games are the fittest on earth. So I think there's some defensiveness that comes from that claim and being like, well, I need to go point out why other things aren't a perfect test of fitness. But again, I don't think that argument. I think that argument's happening in this 1% of people who want to go viral on social media.
No, I agree, and I have friends who I just messaged yesterday, who I won't call out on the show, but they know who they are. They engage with the clickbait and the rage bait. So this woman did a video yesterday. HYROX, I forgot even what she said, some ridiculous take, and she's 100% serious. And whether she's not 100% serious offline or not, the whole point of the post is to get you to engage. So
Yeah.
they'll answer and say, well, actually, and it's like, why are you doing that? Like, she doesn't know us. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? Like, do argue on my page or like another page that's talking about the same thing, but like to hop on, just like don't fall for it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no need to fall for whatever this. I wish I could think what this girl said. It was super. It wasn't that it was dangerous, but it was something really just like a super hot take. And again, the first two comments are my friends because that's how the algorithm works. You see your, and I go like, why are you
Yeah.
arguing with this lady? Like, you're not going to convince her, and you're doing what she wants, which is to create this dialogue. HYROX is equally, supported and made fun of the same way that CrossFit used to be and the same way that Spartan used to be, but Instagram is just a lot louder now and social is just a lot louder now. In 2012 and 13, people were shitting on, like, yeah, you probably run Spartan races, right? Like the same way. It's just louder now. And since I'm secure in who I am as a human and the sport that I participate in, I don't take it personally. I'm just wondering why. So I had a guy on the other day who owns a CrossFit gym, and he's like, here's how I know that we're doing the best we can do for people because we teach them how to move this way and do this and do this and do this. And I said, okay, that's true. And if I talk to someone who owns a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym, they will say the exact same thing. Like your words verbatim, right?
Yeah. Well, so I think you're illustrating. We have a similar perspective, and I wish everyone could have this perspective of being
Yeah,
able
why can't
to.
people just think like us, Brendan? Jeez.
I mean, I encourage people, like, you have to get exposure to these different things. And so most people don't go participate in all these things. I remember one time, this is a little bit of a different example, but it's the same theory. Like back in, this was probably 2018 or 2019, I was at Wodapalooza actually, and I was this conversation with probably like 5 CrossFit gym owners. And at the time, I think it was Orange Theory they were talking about was becoming really popular, and they had all this stuff. And I had done Orange Theory before, and I was talking to them, and they were like, basically just like shitting on Orange Theory. And I was like, you know, they have a pretty successful. What do you think they do well? And not a single one of them had ever been to an Orange Theory, and they were they were speaking about it like they. And I was like, okay, you can hold both. You can hold a view that what you're doing is really important and valuable in the world without needing to, and still understand there are other brands and companies that are going to do some things well. And if you take this mentality of, let me just go find the 10% that they're doing well, or let me understand that they have a different lane than me, you're gonna you're going to, I think, just help the whole ecosystem more. It's like Hunter came and did the CrossFit Games in 2018 or 2019. I thought that was awesome. I was like, Hunter was just like, you know what? You guys shit on me for doing Spartan races or whatever I'm doing. I'm going to come to the CrossFit Games. And he didn't like win the CrossFit Games. It was cool that he showed up and he like gave that community some credibility and was like, yeah, what you guys are doing is cool. I'm gonna come go toe to toe with you guys and like
And
compete
if
in
and it
CrossFit.
and he was like 2 handstand walks away from making it to the next
It
cut,
was it was the
which would have
rope
been
climbs, wasn't it? Wasn't it the
no, no,
rope
he did
climbs?
that was the first round. The second round had handstand walks,
Oh,
and
okay.
he literally got timed out. He kept having to go back for, like, the last 5 meters, and the next event was something that was totally in his wheelhouse. Anyway, he would've gone it would've been more bragging rights for him is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the other thing that I say that people might get tired of me hearing saying is because 'cause I'm constantly thinking about the macro and constantly watching this, um, this rocket ship, called hybrid fitness, and, I'm not sure if you saw, but, Tampa was sold out in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, beyond insane, right? Like, that's like what Taylor Swift does. That's what Oasis does. Like, this is nuts. So, they have to add more days, which is hopefully they will for Tampa, but what I've been to a lot of different gyms lately. I've been to the Y, I've been to F45, I've showed up at these different,
Mhm.
events, and, um, Lifetime, all shapes and sizes, and it's occurred to me a couple of times watching people exercise, like, well, yeah, any one of these people, like, no matter what weight they're lifting or thing they're doing, like, any one of these people are getting ready for HYROX, right? Whether they, like, know it or not. So, the question becomes, what took us so long? And the thing I've said a few times is CrossFit could have had it. Let us introduce people on this basic level without Olympic lifts, without gymnastics, right? Let's create this other thing and launch an event around it, right? Spartan had these stadium races, which included box overs and still has a couple of like more exercisey things. There have been a couple of sort of half-ass stadium-ish races that were like half obstacle, half fitnessy. And Hyrox is like, let's do these 8 things and call it a day. And obviously they put a lot of great money
Mhm.
behind, behind the production value and everything else and how they've built up the Elite 15 side. But I'm saying it was right there, this idea of mass participation sport. And uh, I, again, it's we are currently in this fitness boom, but it was right there. Somebody else could have done it and never did.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on why, or maybe what's next. I think CrossFit didn't want to. Like, that's not going back to what CrossFit is. Greg Glassman ran the company until 2020. He had no interest in finding a different version of a sport that could get like what he was passionate about was pure method, getting the word out to the world about the methodology and the science and the system of CrossFit, and uh, letting affiliate owners frankly like get get certified and then run their business how they want. And you could argue about ways they could have done that differently, but I'm just saying, like, that's why I think this wasn't even on CrossFit's radar. And then they've been through a bunch of leadership changes and kind of are figuring out what they're going to do as a company moving forward. But they created a network of thousands of affiliates and communities within, those spaces. And then for sport, they have the games in the open. I am, you know, why another company didn't do it, I don't know. But I can tell you from going to my first HYROX, when I heard about it, I started seeing our customers adopting. I went to my first one, and that's when I had the like aha moment that I think, um, just like we're talking about a tagline, like the hardest part is getting the simplicity down. It's like you walk into it and you're like, they figured out these little things that make a big difference. Like they figured out everyone going at the same time means I've been running before and had one of the Elite 15 women fly past me. I'm like, that was kind of awesome. They figured out how to make you feel like an athlete in the space. They figured out how to replicate the blueprint. They figured out the business logistics, the partner. They just figured out so much that in hindsight, it looks obvious or easier. Like, why didn't someone? But like, it's not. And there's a reason that the founders have the background they have. There's a reason why they've achieved such success. And so I think to their credit, they've done a lot of the little things right, and they've really thought about the experience they want athletes to have, because the only way you grow the way an organization like HYROX has grown is through incredible viral word of mouth, and so that's the only way you grow like that. And which means every single person who goes and does a HYROX race, especially early on, has to have an experience they're going to tell friends about, sign up for another one, share on social media, and I think they did that really well.
Yeah, coming from this obstacle racing side, I've seen a lot come and go, and I know that for what I do, for example, right? Like, I will outlast and outwork 95% of my competitors, right? Podcasts, YouTube
Hmm.
pages, whatever. They will they think they're gonna get famous and rich. Neither of those will happen in a year or 2. They will stop. Most don't make you probably heard most people make it past 7 episodes on a podcast, and that's fine. But we will also see many, many companies come and go, right?
Yep.
And England right now, I could list 20 fitness races.
Yeah.
America, still not. And it's crazy to me that more people aren't, even if they do a bad job, even if they go, look, we're just going to do high rocks in a different order and call it box rocks or, whatever. And I'm just surprised that I kept thinking one of these gym brands was going to do it, right? So I thought Lifetime or Orange Theory or one of these guys is going to do it. So Lifetime has done an event, but it's an
Yep.
event they can do once or twice a year. They don't want it to be a thing. They don't want it to be a big mass participation. F45 just launched like a test, like this Peak 500, like a test. But I feel like, I just talked to my friend Eric over at Wadapalooza, and they're going to do a version of the gauntlet that they do at Wadapalooza. But even that, they were going to do this fall, and now they're pushing it. And so I know it's not as easy as turn the lights on and you get rich like HYROX, but I'm saying it seems like the move seems to be, why don't we invent some kind of fitness race and invest in that and capture this thing? Because HYROX is selling out, give people an opportunity, and America currently has DecaFit, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean the one in our ecosystem that's just starting is Xenom. That's one in the functional fitness, the CrossFit world. I think there's kind of a parallel to what we hear sometimes in our business, which is organizations being like, this your software is not perfect, we'll make our own software. And it's like when that's not the core competency of your business, it can sound or look simple and it's way more complex. So events maybe are a little bit different, but like I think for some gyms, it's not their core competency. So they would need to hire experts for it. There's probably significant capital investment in the first few. And so I think the barrier is probably higher, just like software. The barrier is probably higher than a lot of these businesses think. And maybe instead they're going to capitalize on HYROX and other companies that are going to do it and just think for our customers, that's what's happening. Like they're not going to go launch their own series of nationwide events. What the best ones are doing are paying attention to the other ones and saying, okay, well, people in my neighborhood are going to need somewhere to train for these. So I'm going to make my business, my gym, the best place to train for whatever event's next.
Right. But even if it's not one of those brands, even if it's not a Rogue or a Lifetime or whoever, it's okay, people with money. Because that all the things you just said doesn't stop them from launching a restaurant or a barber shop or the millions of businesses that get started every day and they think they're going to be the next
Yeah.
whatever. And so um
I
you,
get what you're just saying. Like when there's a signal in the market of demand far outpacing supply, usually that breeds competitors and an ecosystem of companies. And we're seeing
right,
that with HYROX.
right. And now we're a little bit behind the UK in, they had this deal of it's really hard to get tickets, and that's what helped launch a lot of their fitness
Yep.
events, fitness races. And so we're starting to get there. But again, coming from the OCR space, like probably most things, people have like a 3 to 5 year window, and then they get bored or
Yep.
stop training or go on to the next thing, right? So with High Rocks, I don't know what the turnover is because we're in year 7 or 8 now, really, but 5 or 6 of like super popular, really busy.
Yep.
So you see people say they're de-affiliating because they can't get the tickets anymore. Like it used to be a thing that you could get tickets if you were an affiliate, but they're not doing High Rocks anymore. They're still going. They're still signing
Yeah.
up for it. It's still what their friends are doing. Their gym just de-affiliated. Um, but again, I know all things end, and I know this rocket ship can't go on forever. So um,
Well, what if so I think if I worked for HYROX, the counter argument is they're trying to build something that will be an Olympic sport and be like marathons. And you can say all these trends come and go, but road races and marathons haven't gone. So what's your um, counterpoint to that?
Any Because running is putting on your shoes and leaving the house. I mean, that's just that one's going to win every day. And running has had, if you pay attention, running has had 5 booms, right? We're in another one right now. I just read, you probably read it, 1.5 million signups for London Marathon, right? And they can only give out 40,000 spaces. Does that mean it'll be 2 million next year and 3 million the next year? Maybe, maybe not, right?
Oh my god, I didn't know that. That's
No, that was just
even
came
more
out today
demand
in
than
one of the
HYROX.
fitness things.
Yeah,
Um, we're Again, I say a lot of the same things. It's never been cooler to be fit,
yeah,
right? I went to high school, brace yourself, in the 1980s. You know who went to the gym? Football players,
yeah,
period, right? No girls, right? Maybe the wrestlers and the football players went to the gym, right? That's what pumping iron was. So it's really cool to be fit. It's really cool to meet people this way instead of at the bar, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah,
Think that that's a current, I'm sorry, that is a current fad. Could be a 20-year fad, but it's not going to stay forever of,
yeah,
yep, this is what we all do now. I mean, I'm a little bit of a Schadenfreude guy. Like when the axe throwing gym closes, I'm like, well, come on, that was never going to be, a lifelong business. So I know that HYROX has tapped into something much greater than axe throwing, but I just again because I was at obstacle races and start lines with people as far as you can see, and then one day that wasn't the case,
yeah,
So um I I also am on record as saying Olympic dream is a lousy dream. I don't it doesn't do anything for you. It just doesn't. And it's like you can't be in you HYROX can't be in the Olympics anyway. It's got to be called fitness race, and you're
yeah.
not gonna. It's just so I just hate that whole thing.
I asked whether it was like kind of like a marketing thing or a serious goal, and at least it seems serious. But yeah, I mean, I think what we saw in 2020 from our customers who are gyms is there was this reaction during COVID of is in-person fitness over, and like people realizing, oh my gosh, I can work out at home, get a good workout in. And we were, as a business, we obviously had to react to that, but we kind of waited to see what happened. And we just started seeing attendance and revenue tick back up at gyms, and overwhelmingly by the end of 2022, back to pre-pandemic levels and growing since then. And so
You know
what,
who didn't you know who didn't you know who didn't plan on that?
Peloton.
Peloton is correct. Let's just keep building machines.
Yeah. And I think there's some, so you look for, it's like in marketing strategy evolves as new social media things get launched, new tech comes out, new formats like podcasts, but there are some foundational principles that have been true since marketing, 100 years ago. And so in fitness, like what we saw is like, oh, they're people like working out together, um, in person. I don't think that will change. I think some of the trends you're mentioning will for sure change. It's like whether, HYROX or HYROX evolves or some other type of race, but I think people need human connection. And what HYROX has proven is if you can execute well on a concept that creates human connection, a sense of like achievement, and this like really cool feeling of like, oh, I'm an athlete and I participated in this competition, and you meet cool people. Um, there's some pieces of that I think are fundamental that will continue for another 100 years, but we'll see what it looks like. Hopefully, we'll both be along for the ride.
Listen, I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here. Um, I remember that being a real fear, though. I remember, especially in the obstacle racing side, someone said to me, "You think we're ever gonna like get in the mud together again? Like, you think that'll ever happen? Like, we're not gonna have." I remember somebody said this, and I I think I believed it. Was we're not gonna have food buffets again. Like, do you
Yeah,
remember how scary it was that first like
yeah,
6 months?
for sure.
Were you from a business perspective? Were you like, "Holy shit," or were you just like, "Head down, let's figure out what the heck we're gonna do"?
Holy shit. We yeah, no, I mean, we our customers are in-person physical gyms, and I think everyone, it was so novel, people didn't know what was going to happen, but we obviously had to prepare for, you know, most gyms going out of business. Fortunately, that didn't happen. But yeah, we were like, holy shit. And then the the what we did is, as a reaction, is we tried to help our customers with whatever they needed. And so those were resources. Fortunately, like, we have all these digital tools, so they actually could deliver workouts at home. They could keep engaging with their clients through our like messaging in our app. Um, and most of our gyms are super community based. They're not low cost access to equipment. So even though people couldn't go into the gym, they were doing outdoor workouts or at home workouts or Zoom. So they just got super creative, and we kind of took this mindset of like, okay, let's hunker down and like get through this with our customers. Like, let's all just for the next year try to like survive together so that we can all be on the other side, and you guys can open your doors. We can still have software that lets you manage your business. And fortunately got through it together and learned a lot about. Um, I don't know. I think the some of the weaker businesses probably went out of business sooner than they would have otherwise, but it could have, without COVID, might have been 5 years later. I think there was some kind of um, some outcomes that were accelerated because of COVID, but
The
the
cream
industry's been,
the cream
yeah,
always rises to the top.
yeah,
When you see, um, like, gyms now well, no, this is what I wanted to ask you. So, I just read another number that surprised me that, um, that F45 is, like, profitable, but they just lost all their value.
yeah. They went from what, like 1.4 billion to 4 million.
You read the same article I did.
I
So,
mean,
what happened there? Explain
it's
ex
such an insane story.
but doesn't
Like,
this tell you that whatever the big number is, it was never real anyway, right? Because you read the same thing about I don't know, there's whatever 100 of these documentaries are about, like, they were once
yeah,
worth 8 billion. It's like, well, they really weren't worth 8 billion. Like, I mean,
yeah. I think worth in a
like a
public,
valuation is different than an actual, right? Like if somebody says, I'm gonna buy this percentage of your company for this much money, well, that automatically means your value is
yeah,
this much. And it's like, well, if you want it, it's fun to say it that way. It's sexy to say it that way. So anyway, what do we understand about because I think I've been to one recently, and I think they're doing a lot of things right because it's kind of like you need someone to open the door and coach people, and there's better and there's worse coaches. But the fact that they like throw it up on the board and like it countdowns for you and tells you to stand there, and then tells you to move over, like kind of plug and play, right?
yeah. So I think I don't have, I haven't done a full study and post-mortem on F45.
All right, well,
But
go
I
do
can,
that and get
but
back to
from
me,
from
Brendan.
my
Come on.
perspective, what I do know is we have data on businesses, on fitness businesses. And what I think F45 was really good at is a playbook and a lead generation. And what they struggled at was long-term retention. And long-term retention is the number one KPI for a gym. And it will make or break your business. And if you can't develop uh, a business that has really strong retention, you can keep dumping money into it, and it will look like it's growing, and you can open new locations. But that's what ultimately, like, the cracks start to show, and what I think resulted in at 45 not ending up to actually be worth 1.4 billion. So I think honestly, I don't think it's rocket science. I think it comes down to they weren't able to develop systems and whatever else was going on in the business that had strong enough retention to keep all the leads they were putting into those businesses. And then the model broke down. We saw the same thing in some other franchises too. Like, we don't work with as many big franchises, but there was a good story published about, I think it was Exponential Fitness, that had a few franchise concepts, and these franchisors would run a business for a year or two, and it would do okay. They would dump a bunch of money into it, and then it starts falling apart, and you realize it all comes back to retention. I think CrossFit and functional fitness gyms and jujitsu schools do an incredible job of that. The problem is they don't do sometimes as good of a job as what those companies do, which is like really organized business operations, buying, property or leases. That they're run by professional business operators who did everything else great, but like it fell apart because they weren't delivering a core product that created long-term retention.
Um, oh, I had something. We were talking about F45 and I had something and then it just magically went away. Oh, so speaking of F45, they're a HYROX partner sponsor.
Yep.
HYROX, I get emails every week, and every week they announced a new gym partner, and every week there's a new app they partner with. And the apps or the gyms think they're getting a great deal, I guess. HYROX just clearly doesn't give a shit. Is there a point where it actually starts to matter, where it starts to devalue? P.S. By the way, um, they launched their own thing called 365, which they still can't tell you what it does. Um, so do you think it matters at some point that they just like, you want to be, yeah, we'll call you an official whatever? Sure.
Yeah, I think it just like a lot of other brands and businesses are like riding the wave of HYROX. I think they're riding their own wave a little bit to some extent. and and when it will start to matter is where a lot of these brand deals are a negotiation and you have to have leverage. And right now, HYROX has all the leverage in the world. And so when it will start to matter is like, yeah, when the negotiation gets to a point where a brand actually cares about being exclusive enough to have some leverage or feeling like I can't just accept whatever deal they're giving me and have to play in this ecosystem of like they might get an email about my brand and then the next week get an email about a competitor brand. But I think right now, um, and I'm not, this isn't a dig on HYROX. Like if you built a business that's this successful and you can do that, then go for it. But yeah, I think there's just no leverage on the other side, and I'm sure they're thinking about it. Like you want to develop a strategy to have long term exclusivity. You know, for the longest time, CrossFit did that with Reebok. Um, I think HYROX is doing it with Puma, but there are some other areas that they're getting sponsorships from that are not as clean cut, but they're building the ship yeah while they're flying.
Well, one of the things they've done well is they've got some national and international sponsors, but they also sell the naming rights to the cities, and those are starting to pop up more and more. As CEO of Wodify, would you consider the Wodify Denver HYROX?
We did consider it.
And
You know, it's a little outside of our budget. No, I think so. We see this with a lot of like CrossFit Games we've partnered with before, some of the other competitions. The challenge for us is these brands, for obvious reasons, will price that sponsorship based on how many consumers you're reaching. So, say there's 20,000 people at a race, our Wodify's market is probably 1% of those people. Like we want to reach and connect with gym owners. From a brand awareness play, sure, why not? But really, like our audience is gym owners, so we're much more interested in working with HYROX, CrossFit, these other event companies to create tailored packages where we're creating experiences and values for that subset of their market. So like in New York, we have no problem with F45 sponsoring it. And like we would never ever be able to compete on the naming rights. But if we can carve out an affiliate experience or we can create a special piece of the event for affiliate owners or gym owners, that's a win-win for everyone. Because then HYROX gets this cool new thing they get to offer at their events, and we get to spend our money connecting with the people that make the most sense for us.
were you in Phoenix?
I was not in Phoenix, no.
They did a tailgate in Phoenix, and it was really well done. I've been to a lot of events, I've been to a lot of activations, and most of the brands there did a really cool job, and it was a thing. Um,
Nice.
so I was wondering if they're going to keep doing that when the weather suits it.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been awesome to collaboration too. Like my first call with their team was in 2023, and it was just sharing ideas around how we think they could help grow their affiliate arm, what gym owners are looking for, different things. So I think when we collaborate on these ideas, they're open to us coming with like what we've seen work at other events. And one of the things that we've seen is like being able to spend our sponsorship dollars in a way that gets gym owners to connect with each other that otherwise wouldn't is an awesome way to build the community. So we just sponsored an event like 2 weekends ago, and our sponsorship included like a dinner for gym owners where you have these people sitting across from each other just sharing business advice the entire time that never would have met before. So if we can do stuff like that and give it and use it as a chance to get our brand in front of them, and you know if they're not using Wodify, book a demo, great. But yeah, it looks a little bit different than just like slapping our logo on a race because we don't have a consumer product that you can just like go to our website and make a quick purchase decision on.
Right. All right. Well, I think this was a great first chat.
Yeah, it was great to meet you and learn more about your background. And thanks for working with us. We're excited to follow along in this industry, and I feel like being able to connect with the people who have seen a lot of stuff in the past, have a good balanced perspective, and are also close enough to have an informed opinion and not talking about HYROX and never having been to a race or having done it. So yeah, I appreciate your perspective.